And results are still coming in from last night's primary election here in Indiana. Some of the races too close to call.
A very small margin. One of the races for the state senator Spencer Deary seat in District 38 around Lafayette. Deary holding a 3-vote lead. That's what it is right now, but there are provisional ballots that are still coming in.
Deary was one of 8 Republicans targeted by President Trump for opposing redistricting. At least 5 of those incumbents lost.
Our Emily Longnecker has the very latest on where things stand today. Emily?
Yeah, I spoke with 2 of the Republican incumbent senators who lost their seats last night. Republican Senator Jim Buck has served in the Senate for the past 18 years, and he told me last night that the Senate lost a lot of experience and leadership, but he said, we get the government we elect. I also spoke with Senator Greg Walker, who also lost his seat. He says he will find a way to still serve his community.
I cannot in good conscience support this bill going forward.
That's Republican Senator Greg Walker this past December, speaking out on the Senate floor against redistricting. At the time, Walker had decided to retire following the death of his wife 2 years earlier, but changed his mind during the redistricting battle, even speaking about what his wife once told him about his service in the Indiana Senate.
The political path that you took does not explain how it is you became a senator or how I've held the seat for 20 years. So she says, I know you have a purpose.
Walker became one of 21 Indiana Senate Republicans who voted against redrawing Indiana's congressional districts mid-decade, ultimately defeating the measure called for by President Donald Trump, who then vowed political retribution to any Republican senator who had voted no. Now, a day after becoming one of 6 Republican incumbents to lose their Senate seat to a primary challenger backed by the president, Walker says he'd make the same choice all over again.
Absolutely. No question. It was the right thing to do. Still the right thing to do.
Walker's race, like the others with Republican incumbents who voted no on redistricting, saw millions of dollars in outside money pour in to try and defeat them with TV, digital, and mailer ads.
I was a little surprised by just how much misinformation and just straight out lies that were said about me. People that I've known for years turned against me when I'm still the same guy I was when they first met me. And it was hard to see that, but that's the power of propaganda.
Walker's challenger, Republican State Representative Michelle Davis, who was backed by President Trump, won with close to 60% of the vote.
This was a referendum on the president, maybe a referendum on redistricting, and the Republican primary voters were very clear. They support the president. He's still incredibly popular.
For Greg Walker, there's a bigger picture of what last night's defeat means for his party.
I'm just disappointed in the fact that the Republican Party that I was raised to believe in, had convictions that it's the right policy, has turned to these kind of tactics in order to hold power. If it's all about authority and it's not for public service, then what's the point?
And looking ahead, there are questions about what last night's results could mean for the future of the Senate and the future of Senate leadership and Senate President Pro Tem Rod Bray. Coming up tonight at 6, we'll hear from Governor Braun on that. At the Indiana State House, Emily Longnecker, 13 News.